Okay, this is the AFDA, Solving Inequalities. We'll be doing these next week, starting Wednesday. We want to see you guys again. So let's get started. Essentially, for inequalities, when we solve them, we're going to see them as an equation, and the way that we solve them is literally just do the same thing we've been doing this past week. So nothing is really different. The only real kind of significant thing to take note of is that when we use when we multiply or divide with a negative number, the inequality will reverse. It will switch. It'll change directions. So just a quick kind of review of some of our solving equations with the inequality in them, just so we see what they look like and get used to it. So we're going to solve for y. You'll see that we do have, our variable on both sides. So the same steps we did before, we are going to do like terms. We're going to try to consolidate all of our variables on one side of the equal sign, all of our whole number terms on the other side of the equal sign, and then solve. So let's take a second look at that. So what we've done is we have combined the 2 and 11 on the right hand side to get 13. So now we have negative 20y plus 15 equals negative 16y plus 13. For our next step, we're going to add 20y to both sides. So what that does is it'll cancel out the 20 over here and leave us with 4y on the right hand side. And to finish up, we're going to subtract this 13 from both sides. So now our equation is 2 equal to 4y. Divide both sides by 4, and we have 2/4, or if we simplify it, 1/2. So another quick example. So now we have an inequality in our equation. Everything that we just did, we're going to do the exact same thing. So take a few seconds, stop the video, think about how you solve it, and then start the video back up and see if your solution matches my solution. So we start off, we're going to isolate the variable. So we subtract 5 from both sides, leaving us with 4p is less than 24. You see how the inequality didn't really change anything we did. We don't change what it looks like. Now we're going to divide both sides by 4 to get p by itself. And so our answer is p is less than 6. What we'll be talking about throughout the week in our problems is what that actually means. Like, what are some scenarios, real world scenarios of when we would actually solve an inequality, and what does it mean to say that p is less than 6? So again, another one. This is 3x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 41. So we start off, again, isolating our variable, add 7 to both sides. So 3x is now greater than or equal to 48. We're going to divide by 3. So that x has to be greater than or equal to 16. All right, so here's an example where we're actually going to go through and we'll show what happens when you multiply or divide by a negative sign, or with a negative sign. So we have our problem, negative 6p plus 14 minus 58. So we'll isolate again, same steps. Subtract 14 from both sides. So I have negative 6p is less than 58. I'm sorry, less than negative 72. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by that negative sign, that negative 6. What you'll see right here is that it has gone from being less than to greater than, because I'm dividing by a negative. So whenever we divide or multiply by a negative, the inequality changes direction. So now we have p is greater than negative 12. So if you wanted to test out what would happen if you left the inequality and didn't reverse it when you divide it, just pick a value, plug it into your equation, and see if it works. What you'll find is that if you don't switch the sign, you don't reverse that inequality sign, you actually come up with an incorrect equation. So again, our last example with fractions, because I know that we were together on, I believe it was Friday we talked last. A lot of you said, hey, I love fractions. So let's go through and look. We have 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 plus 1/2 is greater than -9/2. So again, we're going to isolate the variable. We're going to subtract 1/2 from both sides. So now we have 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 is greater than -10/2. We simplified that 10/2 just to be -5. And just for the sake of simplicity, we decided to multiply, or what we did was we multiplied both sides by 3. So this becomes 1 out here in front of this quantity. And 3 times -5 gives me -15. So x plus 3 is greater than -15. Subtract 3 from both sides, so x is greater than -18. And there you have it. Again, we'll talk on Wednesday. I'll be uploading more videos talking about what the significance of our answers means with some more examples, and maybe even some graphing on the number line and in the coordinate plane of what it looks like to graph inequalities.